We're here. We want to do a quick update of the work, and because of our time, and today being Mother's Day, we will do a really abridged version. So I'll be running through it very quickly. Amanda will come up and help. I'll do like halfway, and then Amanda will talk about the rest. But we're just going to do it quick. Our mission is train tomorrow's leaders. I think going to the next slide. It's in Ghana, West Africa. You've seen the kids. In fact, those who are sitting behind us got the whole view. So you can ask this row, and they'll tell you about Evie, who is coming in. She's 5 going on to 15, and so we're happy to that we're blessed with these 2 kids. So we'll go on to the next slide. We're in West Africa. So that's Ghana. Most of you here at Tabor know where we're located. Accra is the capital. That's where the Kalbs lived. And we live in Tamale, which is spelled like the food, but has no relation with tamales. And so that's where we live. It's a city of 1 million people, 80% Muslim. And we went there to start a church. But we also have several churches in that whole region. Let's go into the next slide. We have churches in Togo, in Ghana, in Burkina Faso. I think you guys know the Kalbs. They're the reason why we are connected, even with Tabor. They're from here in Morgan County, and basically, moved to Ghana several years ago. They were there for close to 35, 40 years, and now are back. And my dad used to work as a house help for David, so helped clean the house and cook. And I grew up with their kids, and now I've taken over from them as a missionary on the field. So you can go on to the next slide. The history of the mission: we've been around since '91, planting churches. We work with 33 men currently who have planted 128 churches in northern Ghana, Togo, and in Burkina Faso. And those are the things we do: church planting, training, discipleship, community development, children's ministry. Let's go on to the next slide. We'll be running through. So next slide. So about church planting, most of the time we're blessed to have close to maybe 500 baptisms a year, sometimes a little more. Last year we had 485 baptisms, and this year we had 127 and counting. This is actually, we're getting into the time when we get more baptisms. The reason being that in a lot of the villages, they don't have drinking water. The only water to drink is, water collected in ponds, and they hate it when we take people there to baptize them. But during the rainy season, there are so many ponds around, and so we're able to use that for baptism. And so our numbers would be increasing as we go now, because we're in the rainy season. Our churches start mostly under trees or under a thatched building, and they grow to the extent where we can partner with churches or individuals to help us work on a building, and that's where the church would be meeting. So these are just some pictures of what church looks like in Ghana. Amanda and I, when we moved to Tamale, started a church from our living room onto our carport, and then we were renting a hotel conference room for church. We bought land, and this is the church building that is there. We celebrated 8 years last August, and we're just thankful to God for that. The bottom right picture is the picture of our landlady. When we moved to Tamale, we were renting from them. They came to Christ and are part of our church, but these are just pictures of those who are part of our church family in Tamale. Go on to the next slide, please. We had a storm come through on the Thursday before Easter. and we were planning actually to have like a big convention, but because of the storm, it basically took the roof off. It was a temporary roof. We are still working on the building. In fact, we have a team coming to Ghana from this area, from Hempfield Christian Church, Church of Christ in Pennsylvania, from Westtown Christian Church in Knoxville, Tennessee, and from Macomb Christian Church in Michigan. They're coming as a group of 15 to help us work on this church building and on the school building. So that's one of the things we've been raising funds for, is to try to finish our Tamale church building. Can they go to the next slide? Next slide, please. Yeah, so out of the Tamale Church, we have some of our members who have gone through our training. We have an in-mission Bible school, and one of them is Ibrahim Isifu, who now, having gone through the program, is going to be planting a church in the Gushigu area. The Gushigu area is predominantly Muslim, and we're asking for prayers for him and his wife Rita. Amanda needs more prayers because his wife Rita is a good friend of Amanda's, and she's not too happy that they have to, they're leaving Tamale, but for the sake of the gospel, that needs to happen. And I told her that would help her like visit them more and try to assist them in that process. So we're excited about that. Go on to the next slide. Just some more pictures of what church looks like, either under trees, under a thatch building, but wherever it is, the gospel is being preached, the kingdom is being expanded, and we're thankful that we can partner with you guys to that end. Let's go to the next slide. Training and discipleship. Like I said, we started the Carey School of the Bible and Missions in 2021, and we've had several graduates come through that. We had a first batch of 14 and then the second batch of 15 who have gone out. Some are already planting churches, some were teachers who just wanted biblical training so they would continue planting churches. And the Bible school is on the top floor of our building. That's our training center, and one of the things we like is the partnership we have with Kiowa, which is from here, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia Evangelistic Association. We use some of the materials from that Hoy Allen has put together, but also from some of the materials from my time working on my MDiv at CBS, Cincinnati Bible Seminary, as well as other materials. We have some professors and elders and teachers come to pour into our men. So these are just some pictures of graduation. We had our first female graduate, who is the wife of one of our church planters. She wanted to learn more about the Bible so she can continue to support her husband as they plant churches, and so we're very thankful to God for that. Let's go to the next slide. It just has some more pictures. We have, like I said, some of our elders from churches here, some professors come and basically pour into our men, and really that is something that we find very helpful and encouraging. Let's go to the next slide. We several years ago we came and told you that on our property we have 2,000 laying chickens, and that was to get eggs so we can support Muslim converts, especially the women who had come from Islam, with some sort of business. Actually, it is through that we ended up shipping the little red tractor, which Tabor was really instrumental in making possible. But it got to a point where the economics of keeping all the birds, we were putting more money into feeding the chickens than getting the eggs, and so it just wasn't economically viable. So we had to quit doing that, and we're doing more of the field farming. So rice, corn, vegetables, that's what we continue to do. However, the structure has still been there. We, this past year, converted the structure into a dormitory for for the Bible students who come. So it used to house chickens, now it houses Bible students. And so that's what you're seeing in the background. Let's go on to the next slide. So these are just some pictures of classes as we have them at the Carey School of the Bible and Missions. Please go to the next slide. Community development, I'll talk about this school. We started a school in a predominantly Muslim community. First, about 4 years ago, we started a church. They have 5 mosques, no church, and so we started a church in this community. And then after that, we realized that the only school in that community met in the mosque. And so we wanted to kind of flip the script. And so we were blessed to partner with a church in Macomb, Michigan to build a church building, which we converted into a school. And that school is called the New Creation Christian Academy. We started with 35 kids, but the number has grown to 115, and there are others wanting to come. Over 80% of the parents of the kids are Muslim, and they know it's a Christian school, but they know we do a good job pouring into them. We use some of the materials from what you send in the Barrel Ministry, and our teachers are really dedicated. The kids are serious. We give them a hot meal a day. And so because of that, Muslims are trooping to bring their kids to a Christian school. However, the kids, because of the number that is growing, they've kind of messed up the church building. And so this year, this July, our plan is to work on a school building. So that's one of the needs we have. Beyond that, we also have a unique opportunity for you to sponsor some of the kids that are part of this school. And so we have some cards at the table out there, or you can go online. Please go to the next slide. And these are just some pictures of the kids in the building. And this is the church building. But our hope is that we can have designated classrooms for them so that we'll be able to point to them, knowing that as we share not only an education with them, they also know about Christ, and it will turn the community around. So these are just some pictures of that happening. We have groups that have sent book bags, and some of the supplies you send in the Barrel Ministry goes to help with this school. Let's go to the next slide, which yes, it's talking about the child sponsorship. So we partner with one sister organization in North Carolina, and it's called Footbridge. If you go on the website, if you go on footbridge.org, you would find that they've listed the kids that are part of this school, and for $40 a month you can support a kid for their education. You can support them for to have a hot meal. So if you go on the website, this is what it looks like. You go to footbridge.org, and then you're going to see sponsorship. When you click on that, the next slide would show you there's like a drop down. You pick Ghana. When you pick Ghana, you go to the next slide. It would show sponsor a child. When you click on that, you would see the list of kids that are on there that are needing to be sponsored, how long they've been on the website, and you can do that. We encourage you to either do it online, or there are some cards at the table that you can do for $40 a month. You can help these kids with an education which brings the love of Christ to them. I'll go on to, I'll let Amanda come up or should I, okay, all right. Let's go on to the next slide. Amanda will talk about some of the other things.
And again, when we do community development projects, that we are going into some of the poorest of the poor areas in Ghana, and wanting to bring Christ, but also wanting to meet some of the physical needs that we see in these communities. One of those is being church buildings. That Austin shared, a lot of our churches start under trees, which works great for a while, but during the rainy season, it's really hard to have church when rains come in. You're not able to meet outside, and so we've done several church building projects this past year. We were able to work on 3 different church buildings last year, and another one was completed this past January. And so these are some pictures of some of the church buildings and the dedication ceremonies that we had. You can continue to the next slide. We have probably more than 20 churches still waiting for a building. And so usually on average, a building costs about $20,000. And so that's just something for you to continue to pray with us about, that we'll be able to help build as many church buildings as we can. I won't spend too much time on the barrel ministry. I know this church has been really instrumental in helping with the barrel ministry and donating items and helping to ship barrels. But for those of you who don't know about the barrel ministry, we collect used clothing, toys, school supplies, anything that we can send over to help people in Ghana. For $310, you can send a barrel with no weight limit, as many things as you can put inside, and it gets to us in Tamale, and then we're able to send that to our churches. And you can see it brings so much joy to our churches to know that people here care enough about them to send items to them. It's really, really an encouragement to them. You can go to the next slide. One of the really big things that we have been doing lately is drilling wells. We've partnered with some of our supporting churches, with an organization like IDES, who have helped us to drill wells in communities that a lot of our places don't have access to clean drinking water, and so girls will have to walk several miles sometimes to get to the nearest water source, which is sometimes a pond, which is shared with animals and other, that's where everybody gets their water, and so it's not clean, it's not sanitary, and so unfortunately, when girls have to go and get water like that, that's how they spend their whole day, is fetching water. So as a result, they can't go to school. And so when we come into a community and we drill a well, we are helping that girl child go to school. That it frees up her time, that she doesn't have to be fetching water all day. It brings help to the community when you have access to clean water and you're not getting waterborne diseases from the water that you're drinking. And it's just an evangelistic tool for the church, because the water there is not just for the church, it's for the whole community. And so when people ask about why did this well come here, we say it's because of Christ and his love for us. And so we have been able recently, this past week, have been able to drill 3 different wells, 2 in Ghana and 1 in Togo, and we struck water in all of them. And so it's just been a huge blessing. A lot of times, you're not guaranteed to strike water, and so we have just been super blessed this past week to get several wells drilled. You can go to the next slide. You can see different pictures of some of the wells that have been drilled. And the bottom picture is one of my favorites, because we went to the village of New Jaeli, which is where the Christian school is that Austin was talking about. And we have tried 4 different times to drill a well there, and every time we have come up dry. And we got a support to drill another well there, and Austin said, no, we're gonna try one more time. And even the chiefs and the people in the village, nobody was excited about it. They're like, there's no way we're going to get water. And sure enough, they just struck so much water just a couple months ago. And so you can see the whole village is out standing watching to see if, they're going to strike water. And God is so good that we were able to get water in New Jaeli. And so drilling a well, it cost about anywhere between $3,500 and $5,000 to drill a well and to bring clean water to the communities. You can go on to the next slide. One of the things we've recently started doing is health outreaches. We've had a team come in January that had several nurses on the team, and we also partnered with some of our Tamale church members who are doctors and nurses, and we went to 3 different villages and set up kind of a mobile clinic that they got to see a doctor, they got medication if they needed it, they got to meet with Austin and some of our other church planters for prayers and counseling, and over the course of 4 days, we saw over 1,000 patients. People walked miles and miles to come to get, just free health care. And so they were, it's been a great tool, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to do more of those in the future. Go ahead, go to the next slide. And then I'll just quickly talk about the last thing we do is children's ministry. And children's ministry is close to my heart. That's what I did here in the U.S. before marrying Austin and moving to Ghana. And I'm so happy that I also get to work with kids in Ghana. They're our future. All these churches that we've started, we want them to continue. And the way that they continue is investing in the next generation and raising up spiritual leaders in our churches through our children. And so some of the things, we provide provide training for teachers. We provide Sunday school materials for our churches. We do VBS programs for the kids. We, again, like Austin talked about, we have scholarships and are helping kids go to school and helping families just provide for the basic needs of their kids. And so you can go to the next slide, and you'll see some of the different programs that we've done with VBS when we have teams come and we go to the villages. And it's just such a neat outreach that when you are touching the kids, you're touching the whole village. That it's a great way to evangelize, for the church to get prominence in the community. And when something exciting is happening, everybody shows up. So even the parents, the older people are coming to watch what's going on. And in Ghana too, we have this unique opportunity, especially in the villages, that sometimes even if the kids, their parents don't go to church, they're just wandering around the village and see, kids having fun and will come to Sunday school. And so even though, they might have parents that will never see the inside of a church, we might have kids that have been raised, from infancy, growing up in the church, and have that strong foundation in their faith. And so those are the kind of leaders we want taking over our church in the next generation. And so pray for our kids as they are just growing in their faith. I'm going to let Austin come up and talk about some of the financial needs we have for this year.
Yeah, so just very quickly, I think this is one of our key needs, and we've been sharing with different churches, is to replace our truck, which is about 10 years old. And there are many stories. That's the main mode of transportation for us to get around. A lot of places we go to actually have no roads, and so we have to be in four-wheel drive, getting from one place to another. There are so many stories to share, but because of the time, we would be unable to do that. We're in the process of raising the funds for it, and our hope is to purchase and try to ship it to Ghana. And so would ask that you would pray about that and partner with us. We'll go on to the next slide. It has computer school, which is something we're working on to reach out to the youth in our community, especially in Tamale. So be praying about that. And go on to the next slide. Just support for church planters. And so anytime you give to the mission, it goes to help meet the needs of planting churches in different communities. And that's one of the things we value with our partnership with you guys. We'll be outside at the table. If you have some questions, you can ask us. If you want some clarification, we also have a sign-up sheet, so you can sign up for our newsletter, which we send out monthly, sometimes bi-monthly. So you would at least know what is happening and know how to be praying for us. But we are very, very grateful and thankful for this opportunity to come and share, and we value the partnership we have with you guys here at Tabor Ridge. God bless you.
Thank you. Like Austin said, they're going to be back at the table. If you want to look at some of the information or have questions, they'll be glad to answer those back there. Let's have a word of prayer, and we'll go ahead and dismiss and continue with the fellowship. Thank you so much, Lord, for this ministry. We thank you for the gospel that's being shared and that so many are being added to your kingdom. And we just pray, Father, that churches will continue to be built and grow, and that Christ may be spread throughout that region and into the world. We just pray for the safety of Austin and Amanda and their children and all those who are planning churches. We live in such uncertain times and difficult times, but we trust your Spirit to lead us, and we trust in your protection to provide for us. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, Austin.